Hey friends, welcome back to Guess What? Compliance Can Be Simple. I'm your host, Dr. Natasha Guess, and today we're talking about HIPAA training and why so much of it fails to stick, even in organizations or practices that genuinely care about compliance. Most healthcare teams can say they've completed HIPAA training. Fewer can say their staff feels confident applying it in real situations. Training is often treated as a requirement to satisfy rather than a system designed to support decision making under pressure. My goal today is to break down what effective HIPAA training actually looks like, why training commonly fails, and how small healthcare teams can build training that truly supports compliance. So, what is HIPAA training meant to do? HIPAA training is meant to prepare your staff to protect patient information in real-world situations. It is not meant to turn your staff into compliance experts or legal analysts. Effective training helps your staff understand what protected health information is, how they interact with it in their specific role, and what to do when something feels wrong. Training should reduce hesitation, not increase your employees' fear. You may be asking yourself, well, why does HIPAA training fail then? I can tell you that. HIPAA training tends to fail for a few predictable reasons. First, I've seen that when training is often too generic, it fails. The same content is delivered to every role, even though your front desk staff, your clinicians, and leadership interact with patient information in very different ways. That is too generic. Training should be role-based. Second, training is frequently treated as a one-time or annual event. Without reinforcement, your staff will always remember definitions, but not how to apply them when situations arise. Third, training is often disconnected from your real workflows. When your staff are taught concepts without realistic scenarios, they rely on guesswork instead of confidence. To make it simpler, when training feels abstract, hesitation increases. And when hesitation increases, so does risk. And that's why an effective HIPAA training focuses less on memorization and more on practical application. Let's slow this down with a real example. I'll often ask staff members, what would you do if you accidentally sent patient information to the wrong person? And the answers always vary, and they vary widely. Some people say they'd try to recall the email. Some said they'd tell a coworker. Others say they'd wait to see if anyone noticed. That variation isn't a staff problem. It's a training problem. Effective training, especially for HIPAA, should not leave your staff guessing in moments like that. It should give them a clear first step: report, escalate, document, without any hesitation. Now, I'll pause here and move to what HIPAA training is not. It is very important to be clear about what HIPAA training is not. Training is not about memorizing regulations. It is not about turning staff into compliance officers. And it's not about making people afraid to touch patient information. When your training is built around fear, people freeze. When people freeze, issues do not get reported. And unreported issues almost always create more risk than the original mistake. So what does effective HIPAA training look like? From an audit perspective, consistent training and documented reinforcement helps to demonstrate reasonable safeguards, especially when issues are identified and addressed early. Effective training should also be role-specific. Staff should be trained on the situations they are most likely to encounter. For example, your front desk staff should understand how to handle verbal requests for information and identity verification. Your clinical staff should understand documentation access and minimum necessary standards. Leadership should understand oversight, escalation, and reporting obligations. Your training should use realistic scenarios. For instance, how to respond if an email containing PHI is sent to the wrong recipient, or if a patient requests their records verbally. Another common situation that I have encountered with my clients focus on a patient may call the office asking for information about a family member's appointment. The callers sound confident. They sound familiar. In that situation, training that sticks helps your staff pause and think, what can I confirm? What can't I share? And who do I escalate this to if I'm unsure? When staff has practiced that scenario, they don't panic. They follow process. Training should also emphasize reporting over punishment. Your staff needs to know that raising concerns early protects your patients as well as your practice or organization. Why does confidence matter in training? When your staff feel confident, they act quickly and appropriately. Confidence then reduces panic and improves response. Fear-based training, on the other hand, discourages reporting, and silence increases risk every time. Your training should support confidence, which then creates a culture where issues are identified early. Now let's talk about some examples. Say a staff member realizes they accidentally emailed an appointment information to the wrong address. Because training emphasized reporting without punishment, the issue is escalated immediately. Your organization is able to mitigate the issue and document its response. Without that training, that same staff member may have hesitated or attempted to fix the issue quietly, and that increases exposure. Now, confidence doesn't mean never making mistakes. Confidence means knowing what to do after something goes wrong. If your staff are afraid of consequences, they will hesitate. If they hesitate, timelines slip. And when timelines slip, organizations lose the ability to respond effectively. That's why your training should normalize reporting, not punish it. As you all know, I love my mini audit moments. So here's one for this week. Ask one staff member, if something felt off with patient information, what would you do first? If the answer varies and varies wildly or include hesitation, then training needs more reinforcement. After that question, ask the second one. Who would you tell and how quickly if something felt off with patient information? If the answer isn't immediate or consistent, that's not a failure, it's information. And information is where improvement starts. HIPAA training is not about checking a box. It's about building confidence, clarity, and consistency. Training works best when it supports how your people actually work, not how policies imagine work should happen. And if your training hasn't been revisited in a while, that's often one of the easiest places to start. Small adjustments in training can prevent much larger problems later on. So this week, as you go about your day, keep it simple, stay compliant, and protect your patients.